Chapter 1, The Living World. How wonderful is the living world? The wide range of living type is amazing. The extraordinary habits in which we find living organisms, be it cold mountains, deciduous forest, ocean, freshwater lakes, deserts, or hot springs, leave us speechless. The beauty of the galloping horse, of the migration birds, the valley of the flowers, or the attacking shark evokes awe and deep sense of wonder. The ecological conflict and the cooperation among members of the population and among population of a community, or even the molecular traffic inside a cell, make us deeply reflect on what indeed life is. This question has two implicit questions within it. The first is a technical and on seeks answer to what living is as opposed to the non-living, and the second is a philosophical one and seeks answer to what the purpose of life is. As scientists, we shall not attempt answering the second question. We will try to reflect on what is living. Diversity in living world. If you look around, you will see a large variety of living organisms, be it potted living plants, insects, birds, your pets, or other animals and plants. There are also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye, but they are also around you. If you were to increase the area that you make observation in, the range and variety of organisms that you see would increase. Obviously, if you were to visit a defense forest, you would probably see a much greater number and kind of living organisms in it. Each different kind of plants, animals, and organisms that you see represent a species. The number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 million. This refers to biodiversity, or the number and the type of organisms represent on Earth. We should remember here that as we explore new areas and even old ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. As stated earlier, there is millions of plants and animals in the world. We know that the plants and animals in our own area by their local names. These local names would vary from place to place. Even within a country, probably you would recognize the confusion that would be created if there is find to ways the means to talk of each other, to refer to organisms we talk about. Hence, there is a need to standardize the naming of the living organism such that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. This process is called nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or naming is only possible when the organism is described correctly, and we should know what organisms the name is attached to, the identification. In order to facilitate study, number of scientists have established procedures to assign a scientific name to each known organisms. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, the scientific names are based on agreed principles and criteria, which are provided in International Code for Botanical Nomenclature (ICBN). You may ask, how are animals named? Animal taxonomists have evolved International Code of Zoological Nomenclature (ICZN). The scientific name ensures that each organism has only one name. Description of any organism should enable the people in the part of the world to arrive at the same name. They also ensure that such name has not been used for any other known organisms. Biologists follow universally accepted principle to provide scientific names to known organisms. Each name has two components, the generic name and the specific epithet. This system of providing a name with two components is called binomial nomenclature. This naming system given by Carolus Linnaeus is being practiced by biologists all over the world. This naming system using a two-word format was found convenient. Let us take the example of mango to understand the way of providing scientific names better. The scientific name of mango is written as Mangifera indica. Let us see how it is binomial name. In this name, Mangifera represents the genus while indica is a particular species or a specific epithet. Other universal rules to the nomenclatures are as follows. First, biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. The first word in a biological name represents the genus while the second component denotes the specific epithet. Third, both the words in a biological name when written are separately underlined or printed in italics or to indicate their Latin origin. Fourth one, the first word denoting the genus starting with a capital letter while the specific epithet starts with a small letter. It can be illustrated with the example of Mangifera indica. M यहाँ पे capital है और I small है. Name of the author appears after the specific epithet. At the end of the biological name is written at the end of the biological name and written in the abbreviated form Mangifera indica Lin. It indicates that this species was first described by Linnaeus. Since it is nearly impossible to study all the living organisms, it is necessary to devise some means to make this possible. This process is classification. Classification is the process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. For example, if we see and recognize groups such as plants or animals or dogs or cats, the moment we use any of these terms, we associate certain characters with the organism in that group. What image do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each one of us will see a dogs, not cats. Now, if we were to think of Alsatians, we know that we are talking about similarity. Suppose we were to say mammals, you would of course think of animals with external ears and body hair. Likewise, in plants, if we try to talk of wheat, the picture in search of our minds will be of wheat plant, not the rice or any other plants. Hence, all these dogs, cats, mammals, wheat, rice, plants, animals, etc. are convenient categories we use to study organisms. The scientific term for these categories is taxa. Here you must recognize that taxa can indicate categories at very different levels. Plant also form a taxa. Wheat is also a taxa. Similarly, animals, mammals, dogs all are taxa. But you know that a dog is a mammal and mammals are animals. Therefore, animals, mammals and dogs represent taxa at different level. Hence, based on characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is taxonomy. External and internal structure, along with the structure of cell development process and biological information of organisms are essential and form the basis of the modern taxonomical studies. Hence, characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature are the processes that are based to taxonomy. C for characterization, I for identification, C for classification, and for nomenclature. Taxonomy is not something new. Human beings have always been interested in knowing more and more about the various kinds of the organisms, particularly with the reference of their own use. In early days, human beings needed to find resources for their basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter. Hence, the earliest classification were based on the uses of the various organisms. Human beings were since long not only interested in knowing more about the different kind of organisms and their life and their diversities, but also the relationships among them. This branch of study was referred to as systematics. The word systematics is derived from the Latin word systema, which means systemic arrangement of organisms. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. The scope of the systematics was later enlarged and to include identification and nomenclature in the classification. Systematics takes into account evolutionary relationships between organisms. Taxonomic categories. Classification is not single step process but involves a hierarchy of steps in which each step represent a rank or category. Since the category is a part of all over overall taxonomical arrangement. It is called the taxonomical category, and all categories together constitute the taxonomical hierarchy. Each category, referred to as a unit of classification, in fact represents a rank and is commonly termed as taxon. Taxonomic categories and hierarchy can be illustrated by an example. Insects represented a group of organisms sharing common features like 3 pairs of jointed legs. It means insects are recognizable, concrete objects which can be classified, and thus we are given as a rank of category. Can you name other such groups of organisms? Remember, the groups of represent category. The category for the denotes rank. Each rank or taxon in fact represent a unit of classification. These taxonomical groups, categories are distinct biological entities and not merely morphological aggregates. Taxonomical studies of all known organisms have led to the development of common categories such as kingdom, phylum, or division for plants, class, order, family, genus, and species. Keep pot clean or family get sick. All organisms include those in the plant and the animals kingdom have species as the lowest category. Now the question you may ask is how to place an organism in a various categories. The basic requirement of the knowledge of the characters of an individual or group of organisms. This helps in identifying similarities and dissimilarities among the individuals of the same kind of organisms as well as the other kind of organisms. Species. Taxonomical studies consider a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities as species. One should be able to distinguish one species from the other closely related species based on the distinct morphological differences. Let us consider Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum potato, and Panthera leo lion. All are 3 names, indica, tuberosum, and leo, represent the specific epithet, while the first word Mangifera, Solanum, and Panthera are genera and represent another higher level of taxon or category. Each genus may have one or more than one specific epithet representing the different organisms, but having morphological similarities. For example, Panthera has another specific epithet called tigris, and Solanum includes the species like nigrum and melongina. Human beings belong to the specific species sapiens, which is grouped in the genus Homo. The scientific name thus for human beings is written as Homo sapiens. Genus comprises a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to species of other genera. We can say that genera aggregates for closely related species. For example, potato and brinjal are 2 different species but both belong to the genus Solanum. Lion Panthera leo, leopard Panthera pardus, and tiger Panthera tigris with several common features are all species of genus Panthera. This genus differs from one genus Felis, which includes cats. Family. The next category, family, has groups of related genera with still less number of similarities as compared to the genus and species. Families are characterized on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive features of plant species. Among plants, for example, 3 different genera, Solanum, Petunia, and Dhatura, are placed in the same family, Solanaceae. Among the animals, for example, genus Panthera comprising lion, tiger, leopard is put along with genus Felis in the family Felidae. Similarly, if you observe the feature of the cat and a dog, you will find some similarities and some differences as well. They are separated into 2 different families, Felidae and Canidae, respectively. Order. You have seen earlier that the categories like species, genus, families are based on the number of similar characters. Generally, order and other higher taxonomical categories are identified based on the aggregates of the characters. Order, being a higher category, is the assemblage of families which exhibit a few similar characters. The similar characters are less in number as compared to different genera included in the family. Plant families like Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae are included in the order Polymonials. Mainly based on the floral characters, the animals order Carnivora includes family like Felidae and Canidae. Class. This category includes related orders. For example, order Primata comprising monkey, gorilla, gibbon is placed in class Mammalia along with the order Carnivora. That includes plants like tiger, cat, dog, and class Mammalia has other order also. Phylum. Classes comprising animals like fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds along with mammals constitute the next higher category called phylum. All this based on the common features like presence of the notochord and dorsal hollow neural system are included in phylum Chordata. In case of plant, classes with a fewer similar characters are assigned to a higher category called division. Kingdom. All animals belong to a various phyla are assigned to the highest category called kingdom Animalia. In the classification system of animals, the kingdom Plantae, on the other hand, is distinct and comprises all the plants from various divisions. Henceforth, we will refer to these two groups as animals and plant kingdom. The taxonomic categories from species to kingdom have different shown in the ascending order, starting with species in figure 1.1. This figure. King, species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, division, or kingdom. Keep, pot, clean, or family get sick. Look at the hierarchy figure of 1. These are broad categories. However, taxonomists have also developed subcategories in this hierarchy to facilitate more sound and scientific placement of various taxa. Look at the hierarchy figure. Can you recall the basis of arrangement? Say, for example, as we go higher from species to kingdom, the number of common characters goes on decreasing. Lower the taxa, more are the characteristics that are numbers within the taxon share. Higher the category, greater is the difficulty to determining the relationship to the other taxa at the same level. Hence, the problem of classification becomes more complex. Table 1.1 indicates the taxonomic categories to which some of the common organisms, housefly, man, mango, wheat belong. See this and learn. Very important table. कॉमन नेम मैन, हाउसफ्लाई, मैंगो, व्हीट. बायोलॉजिकल नेम होमोसेपियंस, ऐसे करके याद कर लो. मैन, होमोसेपियंस, होमोनिडी, प्राइमेटा, मैमिलिया, कॉर्डेटा. लर्न इट. समरी भी अपने से पढ़ लेना. ये रहा समरी. थैंक यू सो मच गाइज. लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माई यूट्यूब चैनल. और वीडियो अच्छी लगी हो तो सब्सक्राइब किए बिना मत जाना. थैंक यू. बाय.